just start out with Outlook. Some of these features you might have already used, maybe some not, or maybe you haven't used the full capacity of some of them. So we'll go over a little bit about everything, so you get a good handle on all the capabilities that Outlook has to manage spam. So just as we'll just go ahead and start out with the safe senders list. So Outlook has what's called a safe senders list. A safe senders list is pretty much the way you could make sure that Outlook doesn't mark an email as junk. So if you've ever had the issue where someone you work with or a friend is sending you an email and then it doesn't come into the inbox and it just goes straight to junk, one possibility that is pretty common is there's something in the Outlook's algorithm that just makes it think it's not safe, so it puts it in the junk folder. So the way to get around that is you could put that person's email address in the safe senders list. So I'll just pull Outlook open here and just give you a quick idea where that is. So if you open Outlook and you go to the Home tab and then Junk, and then Junk Email Options, you'll see here is the Safe Senders list. So in the Safe Senders list, you could add a specific email address for who you want to add there, or you could also add an entire domain. So I'll give you a quick example of both. So let's say jdoe@gmail.com. You just want to make sure that any emails that come in from this email address never get marked as junk. So you could just put his email there. Let's say that everyone from a specific company that is sending you an email, everyone at that company is getting marked as junk. So in that case, instead of putting individual email addresses, you could just put the whole domain name. So let's say their domain name is abccorp.com. Just type it like that and hit OK. So now, next time anyone from abccorp.com sends an email and it's in the safe, and this is in the safe senders list, it will never go to the junk folder after that. So that's a quick explanation of the safe senders list. Actually, I'm going to show you another quick shortcut. So let's say you go to your junk email folder and you see an email that's already in there. And let's say it's an email that you don't want Outlook to consider as junk. So what you could do is from within the junk email box, you could right click that message and then you could say, go down to junk and then go to not junk. So it's going to pop this up, always trust, and you could say okay. So what that's going to do is it's going to, number one, it's going to move it back to your inbox since you're telling Outlook that it's not junk email. And number two is if we go back to junk email options and then safe senders, it's automatically going to add the safe sender there. So there's two ways to go about it. You could just go directly to the safe senders list and add it manually there, or you could just go to an email in your junk box and then just add that to the safe senders list from doing it the way I just showed you. All right, so moving on. Now, the opposite of safe senders list is the blocked senders list. So obviously, blocked senders means you do not want to get emails from a certain user or even a certain domain. So it works the same way, pretty much. So if if you go back to junk email options, block senders, you would add a specific email address the same way as you did on the safe senders list. except any email address or domain name that you add to this list, when an email comes in from that user or from that domain, then you're telling it, yes, send it to junk because I don't want emails from this person. Maybe it's a known spammer or just some advertisement for some mailing list you signed up for. So anything you want to block, obviously block senders. Anything you do want that Outlook is mistaken for being junk, you could put in the safe senders list. And similarly, another way to go about adding to the block list is you could go to your inbox and let's say, you know what, this is not legit. I want to add this to my block list. You could right click the email, go to junk, and then you could say block sender right here. So when you hit block sender and you go back, it will automatically add them to the block senders list. So it's the same thing with you have a few different options for the safe list and the block list. You could either do it from the junk email options, or you could do it from just that right clicking the email and then going junk and then choosing what you want.
I wanted to jump in super quick here and just say,
go ahead.
So if you have an email sender who is supposed to be on your blocked list, but you're still getting emails from them, a lot of times what that problem can be is they're both on your blocked and trusted senders list. Somehow they manage to get on that list, or they're in your contacts, because any email address in your contacts is automatically considered safe. So then check your contacts and check your trusted senders list first to make sure that that sender is not in either of those, and then double check your blocked senders list to make sure that they are on that. Because if they're, say, in your contacts and the blocked list, your emails will come through.
Yeah, that's a good point. There could be a conflict going on. So if you have someone in your blocked and your blocked senders and safe senders, I think it takes the blocked email address priority, right? Like, so
no, it's the other way around. If it's in your contacts and your blocked list, it'll come through. It will not get blocked.
Okay. Yeah, so yeah, if it can, Outlook considers contacts to be safe senders. So you want to make sure that if you have a block sender that they're still coming through, make sure they're not in the contacts. That's a good point. Good point.
Yeah. I didn't know that until I was writing the webinar, to be honest. And I was like, wow, that is kind of a little bit messed up, but
yeah, well,
I can see it causing a conflict.
We learn things and our customers learn things also. So it works out for everyone. All right. So this one may be a little bit less known than the other options that we just went over. So there's block top level domain list, and then there's blocked encoding list. So these are kind of similar. I'll just give you an idea of what these do and where you could find it. So it's pretty much, these are both related to blocking emails that might originate from a different country, or using for the encoding using a different language, because if you've ever received spam mails from another country, then some of the characters might not be from just English. They might be from whatever country that spam is coming from. So another way you could go about blocking is if you're getting a lot of spam, let's say from a specific country. So I'm going to show you how you could use this option to just block everything from a specific country. So we'll go back to junk email options, and then you'll see at the very last tab at the top is international. So that's where you're going to find these two options over here. So blocked top level domain list. What this is going to do is it's going to let you specify a specific country or countries where emails might originate from. So the way it could distinguish that is usually by the domain name. So if, let's say, an email is coming from jdoe at accounting dot AE, which would be United Arab Emirates, which I think is the how the domain name would end. So basically, if the email address ends with something other than .com and .us, then it's most likely coming, it could be coming from a different country. So if you're getting like 10 emails a day from the United Arab Emirates, then you could come here, check this, and then hit OK. And this is going to help prevent those emails from coming in. I mean, if you especially don't work with anyone from that region or anyone internationally, then this is a pretty safe option for you to use, and it could dramatically help limit spam messages coming in from other countries. Another similar option is block encoding. Now, encoding is less about the region and more about the characters being used on the messages. So for example, I have this email here. I believe this is Arabic. So let's say I'm just getting a bunch of random emails. I have no idea what they say, but all the characters are in Arabic. Then I could go to junk email options, international block encoding list, and there's the Arabic option right there. Hit OK. Boom. So now I shouldn't get any more emails in my inbox from related to Arabic content. So that's what those two options over here, blocked top level domain list and blocked encoding list. So if it's related to a country, then those are two options you could use. Another way to go about spam is using rules. So I don't know if you've used rules for just organizing your mailbox, but in addition to that, you could also use it for preventing spam. So typically the way you could distinguish how you want to go about blocking certain spam is you want to sort of find a common characteristic or trait for a lot of the messages you get. So for example, if you're always getting the same spam email from a specific person or domain, the best option you could choose is to do what I went over before and just go to the junk email options and just add them to the block senders list. Now, if you're getting a bunch of messages and it's not all coming from a specific user or a specific domain, but let's say a lot of them have common words in either the subject or the body. So let's say, using this example, the word one. So let's say you're getting like 10 emails every week with the word one, like you won something in the subject. In that situation, it's better to use a rule. So the way you would go about that, and the easiest way to go about that, is you could right click any of the messages that have the word that is the common sort of word amongst all of them. And then you could go to rules. You could go to create rule. And what's cool is in the newly created rule screen, it's going to automatically suggest that the subject of the email that you chose. So let's say it's not always going to be this exact subject. What you could do is just say, well, I think if I tell Outlook any email that has the word one in the subject, I don't want it to go to the inbox. So I'm just going to remove everything else, keep that word in there. And then this is sort of the condition. So the condition is if the subject has one. And then the second part is what do you want to do? And from there, typically the best thing that most people would want to do is move it to the to either the junk email folder or the deleted items folder. let's say I just want to put in the delete items folder. I'll just select it from here, hit OK, and that's it. So now if I hit OK, and then I go to rules and then manage rules, it's going to automatically create that rule based on those options I chose. So just to sort of rephrase, if you're getting a lot of spam messages, you want to identify what's a common characteristic. So typically it could be a word. It could even be a word in the body. You could create a rule that if there's a specific word in the body that is always pretty much an indicator that it's spam, you could use a rule to to act on that. So I just did an example with the subject. Here's a quick example of how we could do it with the body. So let's say they don't have body in the sort of shortcut route over here when you create the rule. But if I go to advanced options, this will give me a lot more criteria to use. So actually, this is a good one. If it contains a certain word in a subject or body. So if I select that, and then I could click down here and then say, all right, I just want one. I'm going to go ahead, add that, remove this default one, hit OK. All right, so now this is telling it any time there's the word one in the subject or the body of the email, and then I'm going to hit next, and then I'm going to choose the action. What do I want to happen once that condition is met? So I'll just say move to a specific folder. It'll ask me which folder, and then delete items. Next. You can make exceptions, but we don't need to here. Next, and finish.
I just wanted to jump in super quick if I could.
Yeah, go ahead.
Rules in Outlook have a lot of factors that you can add in. I mean, they can be a very simple rule, but they can be a more complex rule too. You can do things such as you can create a rule that plays a sound when a particular email comes in with a certain subject or from a particular person, or even, like with keywords in it, to alert you that you get the email. And then you can, of course, set it to do whatever, delete the email, move it to trash, move it to a specific folder, or nothing more. I had to create a rule here at AbTech because, when my boss sent me emails, for some reason, it was putting it in another folder and I would miss them, which is not good. So I created a rule to play a sound every time that I get an email from them. And I never miss one. Again, even if it moves it to another folder, I know immediately to go and look to make sure that I find the email. So, I mean, I just wanted to point that out. You can use rules in Outlook for a lot of things, not just this. And it's very, very handy to use as a feature. It can not just manage your email, put certain emails that maybe you don't need to read, but they're just notifications. Like we get notifications all the time that a server is up or a server is down or something happened. And we don't necessarily need to read those emails because we get those notifications other places as well. So, we get hundreds of emails, thousands of emails a day, something. So you can use them to make your life a whole lot easier.
It's a good point. Rules can overstate how much you could do with them and sort of customize how you want everything in Outlook to be. You could apply colors to emails that meet a certain criteria. You could, throw emails in subfolders. You could pretty much, do anything. And just to sort of add something to what Marina said about her not getting the emails from the boss, you could actually use that as a good excuse. If let's say they ask you, hey, why didn't you respond to the email? You could just say, oh, it must have been my rule. I'm just kidding. I'm joking. You could, but your
That
call.
wasn't a happy day because he was asking me to do something and I totally didn't see it. And he's like, "Why didn't you do it?" I'm like, "Well, I didn't see the email. I'm so
Yeah.
sorry."
Hey, we've
Yeah,
all been there. We've all been
I
there.
don't know if he believed me.
All
Hasn't
right.
happened since.
So moving on. All right. I'll just go over a quick sort of rundown of what we went over and a few other quick options Outlook has. So in addition to the safe senders and the block senders, you could also use Outlook's sort of low, medium, or high detection setting to have Outlook automatically make a determination of what might be junk and what isn't junk, and then move what it considers to be junk automatically to the junk box. So it's not something you tell Outlook what the rule is or which email address to block. It's just purely Outlook's decision on what it thinks is legitimate or not legitimate. So to show you quickly where you set that, if you want to set that, again, junk email options, and these are those options I was just explaining. So just a quick rundown: no automatic filtering. So this is not going to do anything. Outlook's not going to make any decisions. It's just going to deliver everything to your inbox, unless you specifically set a block sender like it says over here. So typically, if you don't get a lot of spam and it's not a big concern, and it doesn't, and you don't get bothered by it, you could choose this option: no automatic filtering. Low, it will automatically identify and move very, very obvious spam emails to the junk folder, but it's not going to be overly strict about it. High, that's where Outlook, it will pretty much, if it thinks it might be spam, it will see it as spam and move it to the junk folder. So really, you don't have to use this, set it to high, unless you're really getting a lot of spam, you're getting run down, and you have no other option. So probably low is a pretty good sort of balance place to start. And then if you ever get overwhelmed with spam, try changing it to high. Another option is to use the safe list only. This is if you're like so run down with spam that you don't even know what to do. Like you can't even locate emails that are from legitimate people. In that case, you would choose this option, which is kind of a last resort. So this will only have emails that are in your safe senders list, and I believe also people in your contacts. I might be wrong, but
Yeah, because it recognizes people in your contacts as safe.
Right. So it will only deliver messages to your inbox for people that are in the safe list and your contacts list. So this is kind of a severe option, but sometimes you might really want to consider that if you're getting a lot of spam.
Before you close that, Jeff,
oh yeah,
can you open
sure.
that up again? I just
Yep.
wanted to add 2 or actually 3 super quick things. So
Sure.
that next box, permanently delete suspected junk email instead of moving to your junk email folder. You can check that one, but you need to make sure that if it identifies something as junk, that you're okay with that, because that one you will not get any additional notifications. It will delete the email. Now, granted, you may be able to recover it, but that is not something you should rely on. And that last one, warned me about suspicious domain names. What that does is it looks at who is sending you emails. And if the domain name is something funny, let's say it's gmail.nz, NZ is New Zealand, or maybe that's not a good one, gmail.book. I mean, it's something bizarre. It's not the real Gmail. It will identify that as potential spam, and that email would be put in your junk email folder. So it's a good one, but that's how that one works. And the more aggressive you set the automatic junk detection, the more likely it is that there will be false positives. Now, over the years, the technology has come a long way. It's much, much better. There are much fewer false positives, but it still makes mistakes. So my suggestion is you should check your junk email folder often just to make sure that something didn't get put there by mistake. Because the more aggressively it goes after your junk email, the more likely it is to make a mistake at some point.
Yeah, that's a good point. As frustrating it is to get, to get too much spam, it could be just as frustrating to like have a legitimate email get put in the junk and you never saw it, and then it kind of screwed you over somehow.
You could set Outlook to basically filter all your email and you'll never see another email.
You'll never get another email. You don't have to work anymore.
That's right.
All right. So I just went over those low level, high level, safe only, and then those other two options that Marina said, which are good. I think that last one is automatically set that way by default, which is good. And if it's not, I would set it so Outlook, it will at least give you sort of a warning what it sees about a message and if it thinks it's spam. All right.
That basically goes over everything else.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we spoke about all this. So we'll go over ahead. We'll go and move over to Gmail, and we'll hand that off to Marina to go over.
Jeff is in charge of the slides. He's sharing his screen. So if I say flip, it means please flip. Or
right,
change.
I'll listen to the word. Okay.
Flip. All right. So Gmail is very similar to Outlook. I mean, if you've gone over the basics of Outlook, of trusted senders list and the blocked senders list, you've pretty much got a handle on how Gmail does it. They do it a little bit different. I don't know if it's because of trademark reasons or just because, to be unique, they change the wording a little bit. Trusted senders list is trusted senders list, but they also sometimes refer to it as safe senders list or the whitelist. Basically, it's the same thing. It's you put any email or domain that you want to make sure you get the emails from on that list, and then they always get delivered to your inbox in Gmail. The same is true with the blocked senders list. If you put, or black used to be called blacklist, but I guess they prefer blocked senders list these days. So if you put an email address or a domain on that list, then it too will it will not get sent to your mailbox or to your inbox. It will get blocked. It will get sent to your junk folder. If you could just flip, please. I'm just going a little quick because I know we're over time. So, so again, here with Gmail, it's pretty much the same as with Outlook. If you are getting an email from a sender that you know you've blocked and they're sending you junk, check your trusted senders list and check your contacts, because if they are in there and you haven't deleted them, they will always come through. So if you remove them from your contacts or from the trusted senders list and they're on your blocked senders list, they'll get blocked.
Here, I'll just give a quick visual as to where you could get to those settings. So when you're in Gmail, you'll see all the way at the top right here, there's this little gear. So you click that and then see all settings. And then you could go on the top here to filters and blocked addresses. And this is the portion of the Gmail settings where where you could create settings to block certain emails from coming in, similar to how it works in Outlook. But this is where you would go in Gmail to do these options right here.
Next slide, please. Okay, email filtering. Very similar also to Outlook. You can create filters. They call them filters instead of rules. And I guess technically they do filter. They're not exactly a rule. And you create a filter to basically tell your inbox, to tell Gmail what to do with certain emails. You know, let this email through, send this one to my junk folder, automatically delete this one. You have a number of factors that you can set to filter your emails. And in this presentation that will be emailed to you, you'll notice that there's a reference to a KB article. These articles, also written by me, give you how-to instructions. You know, left click on this, left click on this button. Now you'll see this. Choose this from the drop-down menu, and so on, with screenshots and ABC letters and arrows pointing to what you need to click on. So very helpful. So if I glitch over something, it's just, again, because we're running long, but the how-to instructions are in the KB articles that are included in the actual material. It's a PowerPoint presentation, and you can just click on that link and it will take you straight to the article.
Yep, that's a good point. So anything you might miss or want specific instructions, you could just, when we send this out after the presentation, after the webinar, you'll be able to actually click these links and see how to do these things.
All right, if you could flip, please, thank you. Yeah, you can mark emails that are in your inbox as spam. And when you do that, they are automatically moved to your trash folder. And then the next time one of those emails comes through from that sender, it will automatically move to your trash. It will not come to your mailbox or to your inbox. It will also place that sender on your blocked senders list automatically, so you don't have to. And it's pretty straightforward. You right click on the, actually, I think it's a button, mark as spam, and then it marks it as spam and you just don't see it again. So if you could flip, please. This basically goes over the overview of your junk email management options. Basically, it's telling you, please set up filters so that the important emails come through and that the junk goes to junk folders, and the important emails that you want to keep for future reference get moved to folders, because you can create folders in Gmail and then have emails that come through from specific people or with certain subjects automatically move to those folders. It's a great way to manage your email. Emails you may want to keep, but you don't necessarily have to read unless something comes up in the future, and then you have to reference them. If you want to flip. There's one thing I wanted to quickly add to that. So I know it gets a little confusing when we talk about email, because email systems are a little bit different. Gmail and Outlook are similar, but not the same thing. And then you have email that comes from an Exchange server, which is an email server that's housed, well, either in your company or by us for your company, or O365, which is Microsoft Office 365. I can't say all of our customers have O365, but many do. And the reason I'm saying this is I just wanted to give you the quick flow of an email when you get it. When you get an email, it actually goes to the server first, whether that's the Gmail server, the Exchange server, or the O365 server. It gets the email. Then that email gets sent to your mailbox. Once it gets to your mailbox, any filters or rules that you have are run. Now, if you download your email, which is what happens when you have Outlook, it downloads your email from the server. A copy of your email stays on the server until you delete it. If you delete it, you might not. And you get a copy in Outlook. Now, usually when you delete an email in Outlook, the copy on the server remains. This is how we manage to recover your email if you accidentally delete something. So when you delete it from Outlook, you still have it out on the server, unless you permanently delete it from the server, which is rare. You would have to do that on purpose, and most people don't. So I'm just letting you know the steps that happen. So once you get the email in Outlook, your filters and rules in Outlook will run. Now, these run before the email hits your inbox, which gets a little confusing. So it comes in from the server, your rules and filters run. If you've set up spam filters, the spam goes directly to your junk email bin or gets permanently deleted, depending whatever you set. And the rest goes to your inbox and other folders. So I just wanted you to understand the rules run before you even see the emails. I probably
right. That's yeah, that's a good point. Actually, when we go over Proofpoint in the next webinar, that's really on the sort of the edge of the whole network. So it's before it even gets to the email server actually. So Proofpoint is probably the very edge of stopping a spam email in its tracks before it gets anywhere near Outlook.
It's a great spam filter, and not just spam, but malicious emails too. Emails that might have a link that if you clicked it, would steal your information or take you to a website that is fake, et cetera, et cetera.
Right. Yep. Definitely. So yeah, I think people should tune in next time to the where we cover Proofpoint, because it's really going to help a lot. Since we're getting short on time, I'm just going to roll through some of these options to never take, just for good habits. And some of them might seem obvious, but it's good to kind of keep it on your mind, especially these days when there's so much spam and so much malicious stuff that you come across on a daily basis. So just as a kind of refresher, if you see an email that looks suspicious, it just has that feel to it, don't open it, don't reply to it. If you see an email that has an attachment that looks suspicious on a suspicious email, don't open that either. Especially attachments could be, I mean, not just sort of annoying, but they could be dangerous for your whole network, not just you. You could get a virus on your computer. You could actually give your whole company a virus if you open the wrong attachment. So you really want to keep an eye on, what you're opening. So, some people have this sort of instinct that they just, oh, this looks interesting, and they just click the attachment, and then who knows what could happen after that. So just try to get into the habit of really considering the email you're looking at before you click the attachment. Even if it sounds legitimate, like for example, a phishing email they might say, oh, this is the HR department. Please send please fill out the attached form, blah, blah, blah. So make sure, all right, is it actually coming from someone at my HR department, or is this just some random email address that sent this email? So just keep those things in mind, and it'll make things better for you in the future. Obviously, don't run any sort of programs or apps or anything from attachments either. Don't click links similarly in suspicious emails. And then if you do click a link, then the web page that they bring you to might also be dangerous. So definitely keep some caution there as well. And also, if they send you a phone number and tell you to call them to reactivate your account, be cautious of that too, because it might just be a phishing expedition to try to make believe that they're someone that you know, but actually they're not.
I just want to quickly butt in. I'm so sorry.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
The reason these websites are so dangerous, like if you get a spam email, I'm Nigerian prince, you can inherit $46 million if only you go to this website, and you click on that website. It might come up and look like a legitimate website, but a lot of times those websites are spoofed. They aren't legitimate websites, and they spoof something that is familiar to you. And the idea there is it's to trick you into creating an account or entering in your financial information, your personal information, your, where you live, anything that they can use later to try to steal your identity with or steal your financial information with. So that's one of the big reasons why you should never click on a link, even if it looks completely harmless and you're like, oh, what's this all about? It looks like a really cool shopping site or something. No. Chances are it's something that's dummied up, and you put all your information in thinking you're buying a cool whatever sweater or whatever, and nope, now you've given the hacker all of your your credit card information because you thought you're buying a great sweater for $30, and nope, and then you've given them your home address and your home phone number and your personal email and all this other info, which once you give it to them, there's no way to get it back. They have it, and they will use it. If they don't use it, they will sell that information on the gray and black markets. And yeah, there are gray and black markets for this. And within just a few minutes, they will resell your information hundreds of times for other cyber criminals who will use that information, and they'll start collecting a file on you. And that's how they start trying to steal your identity and then hack your identity online. So it's very important not to click on any of that stuff, just to stay safe, because you just don't know. It's a very dangerous world out there these days.
Yeah. All right. That's a good point. You just need to be extra cautious these days. I mean, especially within the last year or two. Just that's why we try to educate you guys to, just be aware. You just need that awareness these days, unfortunately. So it's just the reality. Just to go over a few more things really quickly, and then we're probably gonna call it a day. So
Yeah.
public Wi-Fi. This is just sort of an extra advice to keep you safe. But just be careful when you connect to public Wi-Fi networks. I know sometimes it might seem safe, if you're in the public and you don't have any internet, and then all of a sudden you see there's a Wi-Fi that doesn't have any password. You want to make sure you trust what that network is, because it could just be a random person that's, as soon as you connect to it, they'll be able to access your computer and then, hack into it or steal your personal information. So if you're connecting to a public Wi-Fi network, try to make sure it's who's hosting that Wi-Fi network. Is it a restaurant?
Right.
Is it a airport? Is it just a random one that you see, floating around saying George's Wi-Fi? Don't connect to George's Wi-Fi, because you don't know who George is or what he wants to do.
Well, it's a little more than that. I'm sorry to butt in, but basically another reason they are so dangerous is because you might be sitting in Starbucks and you connect to the Starbucks Wi-Fi, but somebody in that Starbucks sitting with you that you don't know is there too, and they're waiting for you to connect. And they have a method of, you're both on the free Wi-Fi, and they can access any device that is on that Wi-Fi. So now they can access your device. This is actually a man-in-the-middle attack. They can access your device. They can sit there, and you will think that nothing has happened. You won't even realize it. And you will send information. Let's say you're buying something on eBay, or you're buying something on Amazon, or you're sending information to your boss or something like that. They will intercept all of that information. So as soon as you send something, you think it's going to the destination, but in reality, it is going to that hacker who's sitting there, and they don't have to relay it on. Many times they do. That's how they keep up the attack, because you don't realize that the attack is happening. There's nothing on your phone that's flashing or your laptop that's flashing saying that there's a problem and that somebody's connected. You won't have a clue. And both parties actually won't have a clue. So if you're emailing your boss or buying something on Amazon, you won't realize that. So the hacker's getting all of your information. They can change it and send it back to you. They can keep it and use it for whatever, again, stealing your identity. This is part of how it happens. Or they can send it on to the destination, keep a copy for themselves, and you just don't know anything happened. No one does. So it's extremely, and this happens in airports in particular. This happened to actually one of our customers. She was in an airport in a foreign country, and I believe it was an attack like this because they did steal her identity, and her systems were hacked, her laptop and her phone and a couple of her online accounts. So it wasn't a happy day for her. So this is important, and it is, I don't use free Wi-Fi's anymore because of this reason, because when this attack happens, you don't know it is happening. So there's nothing to look for. The only real way to protect yourself is just don't use free Wi-Fi.
Right. Yeah. And make sure you have a good firewall installed, because that, if someone does try to hack into you, it'll be an extra level of protection. Okay. And just really quick, the VPN, people sometimes get confused in what exactly a VPN is, but it's typically used to go into your company's network, but it also masks your IP address, and it sort of protects you from getting identified or hacked. So a VPN is, in addition to giving you access to your company's network, it also gives you sort of it gives you anonymity. So you're not as exposed. So VPNs are good. I'll let you just go over that last one, Marina.
Basically, keep your machines updated. Updating, I know, is a real bother. It seems like updates come out every day, and they do. And I could spend all day updating machines, but it does help. Not just driver updates and Windows updates, but make sure that your antivirus is working properly. And I think all of our customers either use ESET or they use what is it, Capture Client?
It's either ESET or Capture Client. We're trying to get more of our customers on Capture Client these days.
So
but
if you have either of those, especially ESET, because what happened is the old version that we have installed is expiring in a few months or something. So they want everybody on the new version. So if you have the old version, it's still working, but you'll see like a little yellow symbol over ESET, and actually you should have us fix that for you. Sometimes we can just push the update out, but sometimes we have to remove it and reinstall. But it's very important to keep everything updated because that gives you the best protections online.
Okay, I think
we're pretty much out of time.
Yeah, we'll probably call it a day here. We have some more useful information on here, and once we send this out to all of you, you'll be able to go through it. So anything that we didn't have time to go through, you'll be able to check it out once we send this out.
I'm also going to try to add one slide before we send this out, because this was a question somebody asked me. It was Susan. How do you know the country or region an email comes from? So I'm going to try to add one quick slide to it to just quickly walk you through the best way for you to discover where that email came from in the world.
Which slide was it?
It's a non-existent slide that I'm going to be adding on how to.
Oh, like, you're gonna. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, you're gonna add it when we send it out. Sorry about that.
I'm gonna add it.
Okay.
So I'm gonna write it. I'm gonna quickly double check the best way for that, and try to find the easiest way to, give very quick how-to steps on what the easiest way is to discover what country an email came from, so that if you want to block the domain, if you can. You're welcome, Susan.
All right. Well, I guess that does it. I hope everyone has a good weekend, and hope you learned something today, and you could join us next webinar, and we'll go over part 2 of including Proofpoint and some more good tips on staying safe.
I go in the other webinar, and we just have 3 minutes before the webinar closes itself. I go over in depth how you can identify spam, and I went into our spam filter here at AbTech, and I fished out some great ones. And I, made a little balloon with an arrow and explained exactly what it is you're looking at right there that would identify it as spam. But that's a big part of the next webinar, how you can identify spam so you don't get fooled. And they get clever. It seems like every week they come up with new ways to spoof things and new ways to reword things. So it really does look like it's really coming from whoever it is they're trying to pretend they are, or they word it in a way where it sounds legitimate. And I find it hilarious that the most recent ones are, they try to mention some political figure or a celebrity, as if, I'm still going to give you my financial info if you mention, Angela Merkel or the UN. Yeah, but people fall for it, or they wouldn't keep coming up with these new ways to fool people. So that's the next webinar, and we go over Proofpoint as well.
All right, sounds good. All right, well,
see you guys.
Have a great weekend, everyone.
Thank you.
All right, take care.